This is all too familiar situation. You load into a game, greet your teammates, and they totally ignore you. How do people actually communicate in this game? Well, first of all, we need to define types of communication in Dead by Daylight. There are two types in my opinion. First, there are chat boxes, both at the start and at the end of the trial. And then there is communicating inside trials themselves. Let's start with a pre-game chat. This feature should be used to devise a strategy for the upcoming game, even if you don't know which killer you're facing. Then you could let your team know what perks are you using, so they can play around them. For example, if you have a deliverance, you would like your teammate to know, so that they can stick to the generators and let you hook yourself. You could also tell them if you're going to use any map offerings, so they can plan accordingly, or dodge the lobby because you want to use fucking RPD offering. But most of the times, this chat is completely silent. Most of your messages either go unnoticed or ignored. I made a little experiment where I was trying to start a conversations with my teammates while in the pre-game, and out of 5 of my games, I've only gotten 1 response. And in the last game, I've had Yuichi made a joke. Before we move on, I just want to point out that I don't think that this is that big of a deal. Most of the online multiplayer match type games have this exact issue, where people aren't willing to use the pre-game chat, or maybe they just don't care, which is also fair. If you come home from a hard day at work, just wanna play some Dead by Daylight by yourself, not interacting with anyone, you have full right to do so. I just find it fascinating how underused this feature is. Now let's move on to the in-game communication. When you are inside of the trial, as a survivor you have a couple of different ways to communicate with both the killer and your teammates. None of them are verbal though. You can only use your character's movement as a way to communicate. First, there are emotes. While useful, they are way too limited in scope. You can only point at something and call someone to you. If someone is, for example, running away from you, not looking behind themselves, and you're running after them trying to heal them, there is no way for you to grab their attention, unless you have a flashlight. And then there is crouching. Since the dawn of gaming, standing over someone and repeatedly crouching on their face was always seen as the worst way of disrespecting someone. It's no different in Dead by Daylight. I'm not gonna linger on this for too long. We've all been teabagged at the exit gates, and yeah, it stings. But it is one of the only ways to let the other side know that yeah, you are better than them, and you beat them. Which I think is important to have, so that the people can express their joy and excitement about winning. It is of course used to be toxic, absolutely. Especially if done mid-chase or after you stun the killer. But I don't think it's that big of a deal. Then there is the new HUD improvement that actually lets you see what your teammate is doing, which is super helpful. And I don't know how we were able to play this game before this was implemented. Seeing someone being in chase or doing a generator, that's enough information for you to decide your next move. The last way of survivors communicating is a little bit of a secret. I think I've only seen it being used in my games once before. I'm talking about the Glass Bead add-on or the item map. This add-on lets you place a marker on the ground while holding a map. It's a super fun add-on to use, and I can guarantee that you will surprise your teammates with this add-on because they have never seen it before. It's a good way to highlight important objectives, for example marking an exit gate for your team or letting them know which generator you're currently working on. It's a fun stuff, give it a try. Now for the killers. They mainly have one way of communicating, and it's by nodding. It's usually used to affirm something. With behavior's excellent character design, most killers' nods are expressive and they add so much to the character themselves. Except for Pyramid Head, of course. He cannot nod. He has a giant pyramid on his head. Killers can also swing their weapon in a general direction to let survivors know that he wants them to go there. This is particularly useful when you want to show survivors where the hatch is. And that's about it. Oh yeah, one more thing. Ghostface and Pig can also teabag, and that's a one more reason for you to main them. As we all know, The primary function of the endgame chat in any game is to shit talk the other side if you won and come up with an excuse if you lost. TBD endgame chat is also very hostile and can be really toxic.
Me too.
During my experiment, all of my games were calm, thankfully. No one was flaming in the endgame chat, but we've all seen videos on YouTube of people going apeshit in the endgame chat. I actually had a really good interaction with one of the killers from those 5 games, and we had such a nice chat after the game. Shout out to the random Oni from my game. Thank you guys for watching and have a great day.